What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You can see it's raining again, like always. Today was supposed to be an STI day. Not much, literally nothing has gotten done since the last time we've all seen it. Today was supposed to be a day where I was gonna put the car on jack stands and go ahead and try to separate the transmission from the engine. As anyone can recall from the last videos, not sure if the clutch collar is still engaged, so I'm not going to continue trying to bleed the clutch system without knowing whether or not it's actually engaged or not. So I do have a transmission jack that I'm borrowing from my gracious brother-in-law. I will be separating the trans. Two of the bolts for the bell housing already are out because they're the starter bolts. So I just have a few more to go, and I'm really just going to try and separate enough that I can get a borescope in there to be able to see. If I was going to pull the transmission back a lot, I would have to go ahead and undo the ball joints so that I can move the knuckle of the wheel out of the way and be able to disconnect the drive shaft. And then I guess you probably would have to take the axles out. I'm hoping that I won't have to go ahead and go that far, and I might be able to just either see up in there and everything's okay, or I might be able to just slide the trans back enough without taking everything apart, just to get my hand up there so I can click that collar back in place. But I'm not going to do that on a rainy day when the floor in here is freezing and I'm going to be on my back the whole time. I'd rather wait for a little better weather. So in that case, we are going to continue on with working on the Evo today. To be honest, I actually just really want to work on the Evo. Not that I don't want to work on the STI, it's just I'm actually kind of having a lot of fun working on the Evo, especially after so long of working on a Subaru. But take a look. This is where we're at. I don't have any lighting in here, so I hope you can kind of see it. Did get a new radiator that is here. It's the CSF radiator. It's just like a stock replacement. I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as this. So what we are going to do is I'm going to keep on going with trying to get this engine bay looking cleaner. And as you can see, I bought some of these newer parts to be able to make the engine look A, complete, and B, a little bit cleaner. I posted on my Instagram. I did go through about 40 different packets that I showed in the last video, I think, of different bolts that I bought just off STM, MA Performance, and then random other places, just because I want to try to replace a lot of the bolts in here so they're not rusty. But some things I just obviously can't find, or B, I shouldn't be spending the money on just to try to buy new ones. So something we are going to do that I've been looking into is just like rust treatment of things. Because if you take a look, like this bracket here, I believe it's just for the stock intake box and then also like the boost controller solenoid mounts to it. But it's like pretty crappy looking. So I'm going to go ahead and try. I've been watching videos about people using vinegar, like just straight basic, well, I guess it's not basic, acidic, like regular vinegar, like white vinegar you can get from the store. This was $3 a gallon. But apparently if you just soak stainless steel parts in it, it kind of just takes all the rust off, and then from there you just have to go ahead and try and get the grease off. A couple of the videos that I saw, they were using a media tumbler, so it's basically just like a big drum that spins these, I don't even know what they're made of, it looks like a rock, and you spin it for like hours at a time, and eventually the abrasion just basically makes the bolts look brand new, and then you just wash it off in like a baking soda solution. So I'm gonna go ahead with that, try to go through, because I do want to clean the block up. I do have, when looking through my bolts, apparently I bought a bajillion bolts for the water pump for some reason, even though I really have no intention on undoing the timing on it, because it is running, and honestly I don't feel like dealing with the timing. So I do have a bunch of intake manifold bolts that are gonna be replacing some of the old rusty ones. So what I probably will do is go ahead and eventually take the valve cover off, tape it up, put a bag over it so that nothing gets into the cams. But then I will go ahead and go through and probably end up removing the fuel rail, fuel injectors, and then the intake manifold. That should give me plenty of room to be able to repin these connectors, because those did come in as well. And then I'm just going to go through and try to take little brackets like this off that are all rusty, try to soak them in vinegar, and go ahead and see how much I can get done as far as cleaning this thing up, because this engine's pretty dirty. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and took off a bunch of different little brackets and random things that I want to clean. Most of it was rusty. I'm at a point where I kind of like was trying to figure out how deep I wanted to go with trying to like get rid of a bunch of rust and make things look new again. So basically what I'll do is I'll take the metal pieces, I will remove the rust, and then I will seal them with some kind of paint. Just to make it look newer, make it look nicer, and not make it look so old and crusty. I got to the point where I took off the intercooler piping, and I see this. So it's like the transmission mount. There's a mount under here, and I was wondering, like, do I go that far? Do I try to take that off? Because at that point, I was already going to bring it up, but I will have to use my engine hoist to be able to support the motor, because I'm going to be taking out this motor mount over here, and then I have a bolt for that motor mount, like a new one. So I'm gonna have the engine hoist anyway, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the battery out, take the tray off, which will give me access to that trans mount slash, I guess it's a motor mount as well. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm gonna be doing next. I didn't realize I was gonna be going this deep into it, but what's the point of making everything else look nice if you're not gonna do it all, right? So in order to get the battery out, I literally just had to undo this 10mm bolt, pull that off, and it's not even secured down at all. So I do need to get like a battery secure. But taking the battery off, of course, it has revealed two rusty looking bolts. So it does look like one of those guys wants to break. So let's see if we can get him off without breaking it. Okay, so went ahead, got that taken off. Luckily the bolts did not break. They were actually pretty easy to get off. Just hit it with a bunch of PP blaster. There was one clip, where is it? It's kind of like this clip right here that's broken. You just push the two little ear tabs and then the clip will pop off with whatever harness it's holding. This thing's obviously looking a little crusty, a little gross, so I will go ahead and clean that up. Not quite sure what happened here, to be honest. I don't really see any need to buy a new one, just because that's broken, but don't really know what went on there. It sort of looks like a mouse chewed at it or something, but as far as I can tell, there's no mouse activity going on here. But that does expose this motor mount, and it sure is crusty. I don't have this piece. I only do have the new bolt. So like I said, I'm gonna have to eventually, probably not today, but I will have to get my engine hoist up here and be able to support the motor. Not sure where I'll lock onto, because I mean, honestly, like with the Subaru, you would just go from the top when you take the engine out. But in order to try to support the trans and the motor, I probably will just have the hoist on the motor and then maybe a jack stand under the trans, because it's all still connected anyway. But as far as right here goes, I do want to just keep going on taking things off. Once I do eventually get the hoist up here, this piece definitely I will be taking off, and probably this too, soaking it in the vinegar, seeing if maybe it'll be able to work. I'm gonna look into trying to see if I can get some new bushings for this guy right here, just because they don't really look, I mean, they don't look bad, but they're not like obviously new. Going forward, I am gonna probably try to take today at least the thermostat housing and then possibly the turbo out, because if you look down here, I mean, like you can see down in there, it's pretty gross, because when I had gotten the car, the head was only bolted down with like finger tight bolts, not the head, the valve cover. So I do believe that as I would be running it in the garage just to kind of keep the motor running every couple of weeks, I think that the gasket wasn't fully sealing just because the bolts weren't really torqued down. So it's honestly pretty disgusting. Behind the head is also really disgusting. So trying to just strip away everything I can. I'll probably basically get it down to where it's just like a bare long block, just the block and the head. And so that way I can kind of clean up everything around it and try to restore all these bolts that are really crappy. I do have new intake manifold bolts and a new intake manifold gasket coming. So that'll be easy, but just gonna keep on going so I can get everything off and then hopefully make everything else a little bit easier. Okay, so gone ahead and got a bunch of rusty things off of the motor, clearing up some space. I do have it now labeled in different cups. Got the bags. One of the things that I've been meaning to stress in prior videos, but I haven't actually gotten a chance around to say, is that when you're taking things apart like this, make sure you do keep them separated in bags, labeled. Just makes it a lot easier. When I did the STI rebuild, I had everything like meticulously labeled, and I still had a rough time trying to figure out which bolts went where. Like even if it's one bracket and it's one bolt is longer and the other one's shorter, you think you might know, but you don't know. And there's certain cars where if you use too long of a bolt, you could punch through a cylinder, or just you don't want to. So make sure you keep everything labeled. So I do have all these things in different containers. Obviously this bracket's not labeled. I know what that is. But I just got my white vinegar here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pour it in enough just to fill them up. I'm just using like solo cups for some of them, especially the smaller pieces. And then for anyone who's in food service, you know exactly what this container is. This guy is gonna be kind of annoying because it's gonna take a lot of the vinegar. So I might end up putting some other things in here as well with it, just to try to utilize the space. This is the best container I could find that wouldn't be ruining something that me and my family use for like food storage. So this is kind of what I'm working with right now. So I'll come back to it tomorrow and we'll kind of take an update and see how everything looks. Until then, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and keep on working on getting stuff out of here. I do know I want to take off, I don't know if you can see because the light's over there. There's a bunch of like just little brackets and stuff that are a little bit rusty from the intake manifold. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get those off. I do need to replace this map sensor with a 4-bar map sensor that I got. So this has to come off anyway. But I will say, it's kind of nice. The injector connectors kind of just push out of the way, so it should be easier to repin those with the new ones without having it like beat back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to jump on that without breaking any bolts. Okay, so these bolts are looking kind of rusty. Let's see if we can't break one of them. These two guys right here holding the map sensor down are just 8mm bolts. This guy back here holding the harness, well, he's not even bolted in, so I'm just gonna undo that right now by hand. That is 10mm, in case anyone needs to know. And then these guys right here, these are all 10mm. So I got the 8 on first, see if we can get this map sensor broke free without actually breaking anything. Luckily for me, looks like it is in fact coming off. One, come back. That's gonna be annoying. Ugh. Okay, now that I got a little bit shorter on, let's see if I can get to it, which obviously I can't. So I did go ahead and switch over to a 1/4 inch with that 8mm to see if we can break this free. That one too has been nice to me. I was able to get that off pretty easily. So I did have to go ahead and switch over to a stubby, like a short 10mm to be able to reach these last 4 bolts. So I'm gonna start here with the throttle cable. It's 2 10mm bolts. There's one drop, but luckily it went right on the intake manifold, so I can get that with a magnet. The other one came off as well. I'm just gonna finish that by hand. And the last two here are this harness bracket that's not harnessing or bracketing anything, and then this guy right here, which is just a ground. So if I go ahead and take the map sensor out, just give me more room to be able to get in there and take that bolt off. In order to get this round strap, I just broke out the old ratcheting wrench. I was trying to get a socket in there, which is kind of a bit too hard. Couldn't really seat it properly, so instead of like possibly rounding it out, I'm just gonna go the longer way and go the safer way. Okay, so did get a good amount of bolts soaking. Kind of at a point where the next thing that I do want to do is remove the turbo because I do want to try to clean up some of these connections, some of these lines, just kind of try to make them look nicer. I did notice that one of the hot side bolts is already broken off. So that's obviously a possibility that the other bolts, they have a better chance of breaking. In order to get this out, I just want to have a little bit more room. So I think what I am going to do is go ahead and I'm going to take the radiator out, give myself a little bit more space. I'm going to have to drain the coolant beforehand, obviously, so it doesn't spill everywhere. I'm going to take the bumper off because I think it'll be easier to try to get up under if I can find like a subframe to be able to jack up from instead of the pinch welds, because I would like to try to save those as best I can. This is a quick release bumper. It did come with it being quick release, so I will go ahead and be taking out these couple of 10mm bolts holding it on right there, a couple of clips here, there, holding it down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try and take this guy out. So I'll probably put that on a time lapse and see how quick I can do it. Okay, so that was probably likely a very short time lapse. I've never had a quick release bumper. It is super quick release. The only things that were holding it in were 2 bolts in the front and then the 2 quick release tabs on the side. So this is what we're looking at now. I am very happy that I decided to take it off because there are some more things here that I'm seeing that I just didn't realize before. I mean, one of them being that this fan is missing a bolt. The intercooler bracket up here really isn't doing much of anything. It's just kind of sitting on it. And these hoses are kind of keeping it in place. Down below there are like clips I can show you from the bumper. And none of these guys really do anything to help like sturdy the bumper underneath. So if I were to drive it on the highway, it would probably just be flapping and not be really secure, which obviously isn't ideal. But we are gonna fix it. We're gonna do the work, and this thing is gonna go back to all of its glory and hopefully be working efficiently sooner rather than later. So from there, or from here, I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to get a jack under there, jack the front of the car up, throw some jack stands under there, and then drain the coolant. So luckily for me, the Evo does have a like a subframe that comes right to the front, so it should be pretty easy to jack this guy up. Obviously the radiator is still leaking, so it's gonna be kind of tough to be able to not get the fluid everywhere, but we'll try our best. Now we got jacked up, throw our jack stands underneath here, because we obviously want to be safe and don't want to be crushed by a car. All right, so the car did pass the tug test that I always do for when I have a car on jack stands, just to make sure I don't crush myself. So now I'm gonna go ahead, get under here, try and see if I can show everybody. I do think that the Evo 8s have a plug on the radiator, but I wasn't really feeling one. Because it would be really nice if I could just, yeah, so there is one right here. So I'm just gonna undo this guy and then the coolant should come out right from there. Okay, so what I have here is just a pair of channel locks that I threw some tape on just so I can make sure I don't, ruin anything unnecessarily. And so I'm gonna go ahead and break that nut off. I mean, it is honestly not too bad. It's kind of just almost like finger tight, since I broke it off, but this could get a little messy, unfortunately. Oh, here's another bolt that's not holding the intercooler in. That's cool. Oh, that's so cool. It comes out the bottom. I mean, it will take a little while, but that way it's not going to go everywhere, and it can actually just get like channeled right into the pan. That's pretty cool. All right, so all the coolant is drained. I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to take the radiator out. I'll probably put that on a time lapse. But just before I do that, the only points that I have here that are keeping it in, basically just 1, 2. There is the fan, which I'm going to keep attached just because I'm going to have to attach it to my new radiator anyway. Down here, there's this gray clip. That one's going to come out, and that's for the harness over here. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Honestly, you just take these two guys out, and then you pull up. I'm going to have to disconnect this hose and pull it off. And other than that, this thing should come out pretty quick, hopefully. Alright, so as you guys saw, I was able to get the radiator out. A couple of things that I did miss and I didn't say or I didn't know was when you do take the radiator out, you will have to take out the intercooler piping from this side of the intercooler. You are not able to get the radiator up because the piping goes over it. So you can take that out. And then the only other thing I forgot for some reason was to take this guy out on the bottom. Just drain that. Otherwise, that came out pretty easy. I just bolted these guys back down. This is rubber, so it's not gonna scratch the paint or anything, just so I don't have to lose it. I did go through and take off like a coolant crossover pipe here. Just took out a couple of brackets just to free this area up so I could get the thermostat housing cover off. Of course, in the car's fashion, this bolt broke. These two came out fine. This guy right here, I could feel it was a little tight. It felt like it was spinning, and then, as you know, it just cracked. I do have a new thermostat that I'm going to put into it. I'm going to leave that there for now because I guess I will have to try to drill this out and extract it. So I'm going to cover it in some penetrant tonight, maybe try to get back at it. I was watching a Smedia video earlier today, and even he said in it, he was working on his Evo, this is a couple of years ago. He was saying like every single step of the way, something was breaking on the car just because it's getting so old at this point. Which is why I'm doing a lot of like the vinegar work, trying to like strip all the rust off. Buying new bolts to replace old broken ones, so I guess I will now have to get a thermostat bolt for the thermostat. But next week, or next time I work on the car, I guess I will likely try to take the turbo out, and then maybe go and back and take the intake manifold out. But I'm not 100% sure. I might even try to get like this whole section done first, get it cleaned up, get it all back together, just because it's fresh in my mind. And then later on, whenever I get to it, then maybe I'll go ahead and take all that off and redo the gasket, redo the connectors, just try to get it all squared away. But for that, I guess that's all I have for this video. I don't know if it came out to be a short video or a longer video, but pretty happy with the way things are going. I know things are breaking, but honestly, I think it's part of the process when you're working on a car that's like 22 years old at this point. So probably leave it right there. I'm gonna try and do the account of the week right there. Honestly, not sure who I'm gonna do yet, but I'm sure I'll edit some video in after talking about it. Okay, future me here. The account of the week is going to be going out to my biggest fan, one Brian Negron. He drives a Nissan Versa, and he is, and I quote, not a supercar, race car type of person. He's a practical, daily driver kind of person. So account of the week, shouting out, going out to him. Probably gonna put it right here. Boop. And that's gonna do it for this week. Love you, Brian Negron. But until the next time, keep working and peace out.